Hi, everyone. Today we're going to go over ordering integers and ordering rational numbers. We're not going to just compare them, we're going to order them. So I'm actually going to work with lesson 8.2 and I'm going to work with lesson 8.3. So 8.2 is ordering integers and lesson 8.3 is ordering rational numbers. So remember, integers are all positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, and zero. So you're going to notice that you're going to see no fractions and you're going to see no decimals. You're going to see no mixed numbers. When we do lesson 8.3, that's when you'll start seeing all the fractions, the decimals, and including integers. Okay, so just remember that. All right, so for 8.2, I'm working with try it number 4. We're going to order the integers, and we have -2, -3, 3, 1, and -1. And they're going to just ask us to order them. And usually they've been saying least to greatest, but be very careful because they can trick you and out of the blue say greatest to least. So just be careful on what the directions are asking. So like we were doing before, we're going to plot all of our integers on the number line. So I started with 0, and it looks like we are going to, the most it looks like the 3s. So I'm going to go to the 3s. So here's +1, 2, 3. And then here's -1, here's -2, and there's -3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plot. So we're going to start from the left. So -2. Here's -2. And I'm going to write above here -2, just so I could see everything. -3. So there's -3. +3. +1. And -1. Okay, so we have them in order, and it's asking, I'm going to ask for least to greatest. So that means I need to look the furthest to the left first, which is here. And we're going to write them in order. The one thing I do not like about the program is that it uses commas. I need you to start understanding the difference between the less than sign and the greater than sign. So please use the inequality sign. I'll be able to tell if you're watching our videos or my videos because you'll know to use the less than sign. The program says to use commas. All right, so we're going to start with -3, and then we're going to use the less than sign. Our next is -2, less than sign, and you're just going to keep going down the list because they are in order on your number line. And just make sure you're showing your less than sign, and then you're going to circle it. All right, now, if they say greatest to least, you're going to start from all the way to the right. So we're going to start all the way from here, and we're going to go to the left. So we're going to start with +3, and we're not going to use the less than sign anymore because it's a greatest to least. We're going to use the greater than sign. So that's why I want you to start practicing using your signs. Your next integer is 1, greater than, -1, greater than, -2, greater than, -3, and then I'm going to circle it. All right. So here's question number 5 from 8.2. So they're asking us to do least to greatest, and they're giving us our integers. So we are actually going to go by wholes. I think we'll still be okay with that. And we have to go all the way, let's say our largest number is 8. So we're going to have to go all the way to 8. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. If you notice, all of my numbers, all my lines are directly on the graphing lines. I'm not creating any other new lines. So here's -2. Notice I'm skipping -4, -6, -8. Okay, so we're going to start from the beginning and plot. So here's +4. You always have to say to your head, is it positive or negative? Even I make the mistake. -7. So be careful. Here's -6. So I would say this is -7. Well, this is -4. So that means this is -5. And then here is -7. Remember, you're plotting your dots right on, directly on the number line. So that's -7. -8 is already there, but you're still going to write -8. +6 is here. And then +1, so that's here. All right, so they're asking least to greatest. So we're going to go all the way to the left because that's our least. And we're going to write them in order. And don't forget your inequality signs. So you're going to do less than because it's asking for least to greatest. So it's going to be -8 is less than -7, which is less than 1, which is less than 4, which is less than 6. And then I'm going to circle it. Okay. And that is for 8.2. For 8.3, it's now talking about rational numbers. So they give you 2 questions, and I took these from a review. They gave you either all decimals or they gave you all fractions. Please be careful because you are going to get some questions where they're going to give you decimals and fractions and integers and mixed numbers all in the same one. All right, so we're just going to deal with just the decimals. And the first thing you have to do is, of course, line them up. So we can't forget to do that. So I'm going to write them in order, and I'm just going to line them up. And this is positive. This is -2, -1.8. This is -2 point. This is 0. And then this is -1.75. So if you notice, it looks like our largest goes into the hundredths place. So that means I need to change anything that's not in the hundredths to the hundredths so I know where everything goes. It's going to make it a little bit easier. So because I see 1 in 30 hundredths or 1 in 3/10, it's going to be really hard to get these into tenths places. So I am going to go in... What am I going to do? Am I going to do fifths? 1, 2. I'm going to go into fourths because I have 75 hundredths. So let's do fourths. I'm going to show you how to do this where you're going to estimate. All right. And it looks like we have to go to 2 and -2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is -1. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is -2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. Okay. So watch what I do. I'm actually going to check off as I go. I'm going to do the easiest first to help you. So here's 0. And I'm just going to check it off that I did it. All right. And then I have -2. And there's my -2. And I'm going to check it off. I can also do -1 in 75 hundredths. So I know I have to go to -1 and 1 in -75 hundredths. So this is -1 and a half. So that means this right here has to be -1 and 75 hundredths. All right, so now we have 1 in 3/10, which is positive. So we know that it's going to be after +1. We know this right here is 1.5, and we know this right here is 1 in 25 hundredths. So 1 in 3/10, which is 1 in 30 hundredths, has to be after 1 and 25 hundredths. So it's probably right about here. It's close to that 1 in 25 hundredths. You can estimate. I do not mind that. Okay. What you have to be careful of is that if you don't have that, you might think it's before the 1 in 25 hundredths because you might think it's like a 1.03. So that's where you have to be careful. All right. So I'm going to check that off. And now I have -1 in 8/10, which is really -1 in 80 hundredths, which is past 1 and 75 hundredths. So technically it is a little bit on this side. So I'm going to draw an arrow down here and say -1 and 8/10. All right, so now I have them all in order. So I'm going to now, let me check it off. I'm now going to write them out. All right, so we're going to write, and we have to do least to greatest. So least is furthest to the left. So we're going to write -2 is less than this dot, which is -1 in 8/10, less than -1 in 75 hundredths, less than, let's see what else we have. Don't forget this one, 0. And then this one is +1 in 3/10. I'm going to circle it, but always check your work because you should have 3 rational numbers. And just make sure you have, you have 5 rational numbers. You need to make sure you have 5 rational numbers in your answer. Okay, that gives you like a little checkup to make sure you didn't forget any. Okay, so ones with fractions, if you notice, we talked about it before that you need to find common denominators. So here are denominators that are not the same. So if you want 3/10, we need 2/5, and we need 1/2. Well, it looks like the common denominator is 10. Right? They all have common multiple of 10. So 2 times 5 is 10. So 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So 2 times 2 is 4. And this is just times 1. This is the same. So let's go back. And 3/10 is this one. So that's going to stay the same. -2 and 3/10. The 2/5 one is going to change. So that's going to be -2, and it's going to be 4/10. And then the -2.5 is going to be now -2 and 5/10. That's going to make it a lot easier for us. Okay. So we are actually, because it's all in between the -2 and the -3, there's no positives. I'm actually going to go and just go to -2. And I am going to go in tenths because they're all in tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is -3. So let's just make sure. -1, 2, 3, 4. So this should be -2 and 5/10, which is really -2.5. Okay. Now, technically, you really should start with 0, but because it's something like this, it's okay to do this. All right. As long as you know your -2, your -3 is furthest to the left, and as long as you have all your intervals the same. So let's plot them. So we have -2 and 3/10. So this is 1, 2, 3. This is -2 and 3/10. And actually, I did that incorrectly because you should always do your original. Oh, the original is -2 and 3/10. Okay, that one we didn't have to. That one was already in the tenths. This one we're going to have to say -2 and 2/5. All right, so -2 and 4/10 is here. And we're going to say -2 and 2/5. Okay. This is -2. So here's -2. Here's -2.5, which is -2 and 5/10. So that's here. And that's -2.5. And then we have -3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to go least to greatest. And we're going to go furthest to the left. So we're going to start here. So we're going to say -3 is less than -2.5 less than -2 and 2/5 less than -2 and 3/10 less than -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have all 5. Did I put everything back to the original? I did. Do I have my negatives on there? I do. And I am done. Have a great day, everybody.